Questions you never thought you would have. 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 In church.
Oh boy. Listen to this. We got, wow, I'm super hot. Super hot. That's what my wife says too.
Every night.
Super hot.
Every night. Yeah.
Welcome to the show, everyone.
Barbie
Questions-
verify.
Questions you never.
Verify.
She'll verify that. She'll drive here if I ask her to. Yep. Welcome to Questions You Never Thought You Could Ask in Church. Here with David Gadini. He's dressed in more gray today than a humpback whale. Welcome to the show. I wish you could see him. We do have a new setup today, and that Kent has produced for us as our producer. We're at a high top table. If you're not online with us, go look. Three good looking dudes talking about the most important thing
Well, two
ever.
good looking dudes and one that's hot. You know, I mean,
True.
there's levels here.
There
Steve.
is.
There's levels.
There is.
And I have my hat back on today, so like all is well.
All is well in the world.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
is well. He's got his
You have
hat
your
back
armor?
on. Yes.
Good.
Yes. It's Andrew Metcalf who hates the touch of chalkboards and the ceilings or the roofs of cars.
Yep. Chalk gets everywhere. Dries out your feet.
That's so weird that you just have like this.
I also don't eat Doritos or Cheetos because they get your hands.
My cat does.
Except for like a plastic glove. You get the serving glove and you're eating
I
your
use
Cheetos.
chopsticks.
I did not eat
Yeah.
Doritos. That's a meal.
It is a meal.
That's a meal.
So, welcome everyone.
Good to see you, Steve.
Yeah, you too.
Andrew, good to see
You
you.
too.
Yeah.
Kent, love the setup.
We're
Yeah,
getting
it's
there.
really cool.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to be on the show with you guys again today. We're second week into the Christmas season. I know we got just like slammed with Christmas questions from last week and more are coming up. Here's a question I have to lead this off. What is the Starbucks cup controversy? I mean, I see the questions coming through on this. Like, do we not want our beverages in cups anymore? Or like, tell me about this.
You just put out your hands like
Just put out your
communion,
hands,
and
you
they
know?
pour coffee.
Yeah. If you got big hands, you get a venti and they charge you more.
It's like
you got
Oliver.
little hands.
They want everybody to be like Oliver. May I have another?
Yeah, right.
Right? That was Oliver.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Oliver Twist.
Yeah, Oliver Twist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, pulling out the Dickens quotes here.
That's me.
That's
Very.
You and
Very-
Charles, you and Chuck.
We go way back.
You go way back.
Further back than
Chuck
anybody.
Dickens. That's for the like B-side books. They
Right.
make it
Yes.
quite
Yeah, right.
to fame.
No, but what is this thing like? So what's the controversy about?
I don't know exactly. I remember hearing about it a few years ago for a couple of years, probably 2015, 2016 era, that the general Christian community that cares about this apparently was upset because it didn't have like Merry Christmas on it or anything about the Christmas story or Jesus or anything. But I don't think it's ever had anything.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask.
I mean, we have a picture on the video stream right now, and none of
Pretty
those seem
cups.
to say anything about Jesus. And this is the last 20 years worth of cups. So I don't know why it all of a sudden came up that this was a problem, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything in the last couple of years.
Well, they don't claim to be like a Christian company, so
No. And
No.
again,
Let 'em-
so
let
not
them.
that I'm at Starbucks that much, really. Lately,
I can't
not
stand
at
there with
all.
coffee.
They're,
No, you can't.
No,
Mm.
it's like they just swept it off the floor from Folgers
Yeah.
and then remarketed
Rebrewed.
it as and repackaged
Smart.
it as
Smart.
Starbucks.
Yeah.
I got their iced coffee when I was driving back from Thanksgiving, and it was just black iced coffee. It was the sweetest thing I've.
Mm.
Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
I was like, did they just dump a cup of sugar into this? It was awful.
Well,
And-
text in. Let us know what this controversy is about. Maybe you texted in the question, but we'd like to know more of what this Starbucks coffee cup controversy entails and what the controversy actually is. You can text questions into the show to 815-314-0363. Here's the spirit of it. We're all church workers here. We're at Fellowship of Faith in McHenry, Illinois. And what we've discovered in the churches that we've served through the course of our life, Christians that we've gotten to know and meet, non-Christian friends and families that aren't connected to church, is that people have questions about God. People have questions about Christianity. People have questions about Jesus. People have questions about the Bible. And there is a lot of schlock out there. There's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of confusion out there. There's a lot of embarrassment out there. There's a lot of fear of judgment out there. And we've found that people tend to bottle their questions up, bury them down, or when they ask, they don't know where to go. This is the podcast where and the live stream where you can ask. So text any questions they have about God, life, Christianity, the Bible, the intersection of it all with culture today to 815-314-0363. And I know we got a mailbag or an inbox as always, and that's what we're about and what we're going to do.
Yeah. So Kent's got like, they're on the new setup. Did you strategically place these colors in front of us? Like I'm purple, Dave's yellow, Andrew's blue.
Andrew's blue.
Blue.
And it even matches
is that
this
kind
mic.
of how you have always like envisioned this? Is this like the aura?
I do. You're like,
here?
you're kind of like
Am I
a
sunny?
ray of
Am
sunshine.
I a ray of sunshine?
Yeah.
I'm a ray of sunshine in your life.
Yeah.
Blue,
I've always known, Steve.
Brought me
Always
joy.
known. Yeah.
blue is very like contemplative, reflective. I think-
Well, see,
Sad.
no, you two.
Sad. Also,
You two
cheers,
are
just
at
one
odds
cheer.
because purple and blue are liturgically Advent colors,
Mm.
and depending on what tradition you are. So, I mean, is this like indicative of a
I've always
like an
liked.
internal
I've
struggle
always done
between
blue.
you two?
I've always seen blue.
Blue is so much better than purple at Advent. I mean, come on, you get purple and Lent.
I thought
Why do you
purple's
wanna-
Lent. Yeah,
Why do you want
I-
to double down on that?
I
You
mean, I
save
did
money
it.
on your stoles and your paraments or something like that?
Probably,
But,
yeah.
I did it for the visual aesthetics for all of our listeners.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I know.
Always
Our listening
thinking about
audience
the other guy,
appreciates
aren't
it, You know?
Yeah.
if
I
you
think-
can just picture this.
That's right.
Mine's purple because you know how much I love my wife, and you know that reminds me of her because her favorite color is purple.
Is that legit?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Color purple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that a book too?
The color
movie?
of purple.
The color purple.
The color.
Isn't
purple.
there like some like purple hatted ladies society too?
No,
out
that's the
there?
red
Red.
hat.
Oh, is that the red hat?
Red hat lady.
Nancy.
Don't they wear
Nancy
like
was
red
in the
hats
red
with
hats.
purple or something?
I
feel like purple's in
sometimes.
there.
Isn't
Maybe.
that? I thought that was like LWML. LWML. They have some hat.
Lutheran
purple.
Women's Layman's League or
Lutheran Women's Missionary
Missionary
League.
League?
I think that's
You know, the money that organization raises is staggering.
Yeah, they should send some over.
I mean, Steve is asking.
Could be in so
Put me on a mission.
could be in so tight with it. Spread the wealth.
Share the wealth a little
Share
bit.
the wealth.
Well, jumping into some Christmas questions, I wanted to see what are your guys' favorite Christmas tradition? Like either your family has, or the church has, or just a fun tradition. It doesn't need to be your favorite.
We sit around and we light a fire on the fireplace. We get a cup of eggnog mixed with rum or whatever your favorite alcohol is, and turn down the lights low, and then we turn on some Spotify or Pandora on the fireplace TV, and then we listen to Mariah Carey for about 8 hours straight. We drink ourselves into a stupor, and then we throw things at the TV by the end of it.
By about 4 hours in, the song gets really
Steve is
catchy.
Great.
singing with the range
Yep.
has just gone high.
It was great. By the way, so my daughter, she's at Woodstock High School, and they had a concert choir a choir concert last night. First song, what do you think it was? Mariah Carey. I'm just like, I cannot get away from her. Oh my goodness.
There's no escape.
Yeah, it
Haunting
sounded
your life,
exactly
haunting
like
your
her.
dreams.
No, they were actually really good though. They got a great music program there. So anyway, sorry. That's what we do.
Yeah. Cheers, Andrew.
We always did presents on Christmas Eve night.
Like
Mm-hmm.
late, like you get back from like the
Yeah.
candlelight service at like
Yeah.
midnight and then rip in.
Not
right?
usually the midnight service. Usually we go to like 7-8 o'clock service, and then
Okay.
after that do presents. But it was always presents Christmas Eve, and then stockings Christmas morning.
You know, that's how we were too growing up, except we did the 11 o'clock service.
Oh,
So we
no.
get home about 12:30, and you kind of like as a kid, especially, you know, you're kind of wired. We're like, well, we're awake. Let's dig
Mhm.
in. I loved
Yeah.
it. We come back,
Yep.
open presents till about 2. Then you kind of sleep till whenever you wanted the next morning. And it was the same thing. You kind of wake up, do the breakfast thing, you know, and play with your stuff.
Yep.
And hit the stock.
Enjoy the day.
Bonus.
Trash
Yeah.
the house.
Watch movies.
Well, see, I
Be
grew up in a
lazy.
situation too, and I bet a lot of our listeners can kind of identify with this. But you know, I have a series of divorces and remarriage among my parents, so
Mhm.
we would end up going to about 4 different Christmases over a 2-day span of time. And then when I got married, we would end up hitting like 6 to 8 Christmases within 3 days.
Wow.
And it's kind of interesting because at the time we'd be like, "This is crazy," but I'll be honest, part of me misses it.
Mm.
You know, as families kind of moved on, as certain family members have died, as things have happened and the landscape has shifted, it's not that way anymore. But there's something about that season where, as stupid and crazy as it was, I actually miss it. And it would always be the same thing. I would be like hauling in to make it for like, 10 o'clock call time, 10 p.m. call time on Christmas Eve at church,
Mhm.
like hauling in from Chicago going, oh, there better not be snow. There better not be traffic. There not,
Yeah.
So you enjoyed the chaos of it?
Yeah. And in retrospect, and believe me, there was a lot of chaos of it, but it's like a lot of things it's your attitude and perspective towards it. And if you shifted, there was actually something fun about it.
Okay, so here's another question. What was your guys' as a kid growing up? What was your favorite gift that you ever got?
I don't know if I could even answer that.
We got a Nintendo 64 one year from my aunt and uncle. My parents wouldn't buy it for us, but the aunt and uncle did.
Mm.
So that I still have it actually at my house, but it doesn't work with new TVs, so I
And your-
can't use it.
Your parents are still not talking to your aunt and uncle.
yeah, that ended the
It's a family
relationship.
feud.
But no, it was great. Some Donkey Kong,
Yeah.
some racing.
Yeah.
No, I'll turn it here and I'll kind of flip it the other way. My dad, who prided himself on being the cheapest human being known to humanity, was in fairness, was actually very generous in certain ways, but was not what I would call frivolous. Like, he didn't believe in going out to eat or buying little things or getting into the gift thing that much.
Mhm.
But he, I'm going back to like 1978 or 1979. He bought me an Atari 2600, not on a holiday. But I remember the most heartbreaking Christmas because I'd always go to my dad's place on Christmas Eve, and he got me this stack of Atari games. And I mean, you're talking like 82 at $30 a pop. I
Yeah.
mean, it was like,
Yeah.
So I get this huge stack of Atari games, right? I'm ready to go home. My mom and my stepdad are waiting in the car to pick me up, and he won't let me bring them home.
Oh no.
So they were gifts for him.
Yeah, probably, right?
Combat.
Oh,
Remember
all of them,
that? The
yeah.
boxing one where you just saw from the top view, and they're
My
just
favorite was
doing
Pitfall,
this.
though.
Pitfall. Oh,
Pitfall
man.
was the best.
That
And
was
the
great.
music to this day. That
Yeah.
yeah,
It was like Indiana Jones.
it was.
Yeah.
And of course, that was the
8-bit
era.
music.
Yeah.
Was it even 8-bit?
It wasn't even. I don't know.
I don't think. I think the Nintendo, the NES when it first came out was 8-bit.
Hmm.
No, I think we're talking like an eighth of a bit.
It's just one note.
It was yeah, right.
It's a
There's no
drum.
octave here.
No.
It's one note.
Mine was it was 1984. I know this, and because it was almost the worst Christmas ever. Like you're going through the unwrapping, and you're like, oh my gosh,
There's
this
nothing here,
sucks.
yeah.
Big
What is
brother-
going on
Big
here?
Brother's watching.
Yeah, everybody's
Yeah,
getting
right,
what they
right.
want, and I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I'll try and be humble at 8.
Yeah, very mature of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was very mature, but
You still are.
So then my mom's like, "What is that in the tree?" And it was huge. She knitted me like it was really weird. It was this knitted mailbox, and so tiny, maybe
Oh, I
like
know
the
what
size
you're
of a
talking about.
Twinkie, like the size of a Twinkie. And so she's like, I think there might be something. So there's a note, and then it took me to like kind of like a hunt. I had to go on a
Mhm.
scavenger hunt. So it led me to another place. It ended up in the garage, and there was my brand new black, gold rimmed Huffy, and it was the coolest
Remember
bike.
the seats on those Huffies too? It was like a loaf of bread.
No,
It was that
no. This
thick-
was a BMX dirt bike.
Oh,
yeah,
so you
this
had
was
the like the pear shape.
this-
Whatever you want to. Yeah.
alloy rims because
Yeah.
that was a huge
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
when I took that out that day, all the kids in our neighborhood were like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. So my first bike, banana seat, and
Yeah.
angel bars.
with streamers
Awesome.
and a little horn that
You have
goes.
a bell.
It was chopped, man. I was
Those are like
chopped.
the most uncomfortable, like the Harleys with the handlebars up here.
I don't see how guys
How
do
do
it.
you- What do you do with that?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
here's-
more comfortable.
Yeah, it's actually more comfortable because your back's up straighter.
Here's a question
Okay.
I've always had
But
about
don't
bikes.
your shoulders get tired?
No, they're hangers. You just
Yeah. So the question about bikes that I've always had is why on a men's bike is the bar higher, and on a women's it goes down at an angle. How
Makes
many
no sense to
times
me.
as a kid did you go off a jump and just rack? I mean, like
Hmm.
pain.
Yeah. It's because women wore dresses back in the day when bicycles were originally made, and
Oh.
so you needed a space for the skirt to.
And it's really a
fall down.
tradition that's carried on. As I look around and see like female bikers. I mean,
Mhm.
they're, always in skirts, right?
Yeah, right,
So,
right.
You know, it makes all the sense in the world
Harley,
that the frame
those
instead of
Harley
saying-
riders.
The
Riding side
the
saddles.
hoops
a lot of
don't work
times.
so well. Where does this hoop
Uh,
go? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah,
But now you get the mountain bikes though.
yeah,
Mountain
they're
bikes
all
are cut a little
yeah,
different.
they
now,
are.
Yeah.
so,
yeah, it's gotten
to help
very
you
much
to
more.
help you out.
To help me out.
Yeah.
Well, I was a little guy.
Yeah.
It's just for you, Steve.
just for you.
Thanks. I thought it was just the way they were all made. My parents evidently just recognized the fact that I was like 3'2". So
They're like, you know what'll be funny?
yeah,
Yeah, right.
This bike.
It was a Christmas present for them too.
yeah, it was comical for all the neighborhood parents.
So at
Right.
Thanksgiving, my nephews were very much into scavenger hunts. They're 5 and almost 6, but they don't necessarily know how to do. Like they want to put on a scavenger hunt for
Mm.
like aunts and uncles and things,
Mhm.
but they don't know where to put. Like the clue should go to the next thing, so it'll be like, you know, go to the fridge or something.
Mhm.
But they'll put that one on the fridge. So you never know where you're
Where you're
going
supposed to
next.
go.
You're like,
Right,
oh, well, I
right.
found this clue
And now what?
right here.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was entertaining to say the least.
Hmm.
Them trying and it'd be like,
Or
go find a
frustrating.
teddy bear.
Or
Like,
super
what?
frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but they're cute and they're energetic. And then when you would get the clue, they go, okay, now follow me. You're like, wait, you're showing me where I'm
This-
going.
yeah, yeah.
All right,
I don't know if you
before
get the spirit of this,
Before we
yeah.
get into some questions, let's just go to our online comment section. It looks like Becky agrees with Andrew as far as the and no paper bags. So we're
No
talking
paper
about
bags.
touch.
Ah,
no,
yes.
No touch. Can't stand it, she says. Tasha says, hi, everyone. Voy, FYI. What is that in reference to? Voy. Voy? B-O-Y? I have no idea.
I lean on you, Steve, for all pop references,
You know,
so you know.
I don't know that is. Very something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, if anybody knows, chime in.
Valerie, let us know
We're
what's
all
going
looking
on.
at Kent. Yeah.
Kent, you're the radio guy.
Maybe she lives in
oh,
England.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Boy.
Yeah,
Oh,
Oh boy, that's
Oh, boy.
that's Jewish. What are you talking about? That's
Right.
England.
Oy
Uh,
vey.
oh boy. Boy, oh boy.
Sorry if that was a serious comment. We're joking about
This is
it.
the dumbest show ever. But this is more for our entertainment than yours, everyone. So
It really is. We're here for us, not you.
John says, hi, Dave and guys. Hello. I'm one of those guys. You can call me Steve, and the other one's Andrew. And the other one is hi, guys. Hi, Carol. All right, let's go. Get on-
Perfect. Let's go. Let's
get on
jump
some
in.
stuff.
Steve's gotten it out of his system
Yeah,
this
yeah.
morning. You know, he comes in, he's penned up for
Should
the
we
week.
start over?
He's got to get it
Yeah.
out of the system, you know.
Replay the intro
Come on, hit
music.
that music again. Yeah. 20 minutes in.
Okay, now on to the show. There it is.
Yeah. We'll put a
All
note
right.
in the podcast. If you really want answers to questions, jump
Yeah,
ahead to the
start-
20-minute
start
mark.
at 12, what is it, 47,
We
right?
need one of those buttons that one of our political leaders used to have, that reset button.
That was easy.
Yes. Okay.
The Staples, easy.
Yes.
All right, what do you got, Andrew?
Perfect. General question. What is Advent? When does it start? And what should I do?
When is Advent? When does it start? And what should I do?
Yeah.
I'm going to turn the question back on you, and I'm going to start with let me answer what it is, and then we'll go to when does it start, because that I think is one of the
Mhm.
biggest misconceptions, at least in the United States.
Hmm.
So Advent is a Latin term, adventus. All right, is the word. It means to like come, like coming. Something's coming or it's arriving.
Can we call it
If you will.
Adventist from now on?
I think we should call it
Way
Adventus.
cooler.
It's way cooler.
Adventus.
Adventus, the reckoning.
10 o'clock, Fellowship of Faith.
10 o'clock. It's late.
Ah, well, that's what Dave wants it.
Every service should start at 10 o'clock.
Ancient
PM.
Adventus.
Ancient
Adventus.
So it means coming, and it's situated in a larger calendar system that Christians have often used to try to rotate their life around the life of Christ. Because the way of a Christian is centering your entire life in the way of Christ, that your identity is found in Christ. The way you choose to live is found in Christ. It's not just getting some teachings you life and fitting them into your idea. It's how does my entire life conform to the way of Christ? And so one of the ways that early Christians would do this is they would actually mark and order their time around the life of Christ. So what are the things that Christ faced? What are the key moments in his life? Things that he promised he's going to do. Kind of cool, if you think about it, to think of your entire calendar as being something that finds its meaning from the way of Jesus. And so Advent is the first season that actually starts the Christian calendar. And so New Year, if I can talk that way, in historic Christianity begins with Advent. And there's a certain logic to it because it's all about anticipating the birth of Christ. And so it's a time that the Christian church would go, let's make sure to reread the Christmas stories in the Bible, make sure to reread those prophecies that looked forward to Christ, make sure to kind of root ourselves in the hope of the people that waited for the coming of the Messiah and relive that, so to speak, and then simultaneously celebrate the coming of Christ into this world. But what makes it odd is you hear that description is, well, like Christ came 2,000 years ago. So like, what are we anticipating? So it simultaneously serves as a season to make sure that we don't forget he promised he's coming again. So how do we kind of focus ourselves to go, wait, he was obviously born, but he said he's going to return. And so how do we kind of tune our hearts to go, we should live with a certain sense of waiting, longing, yearning, expectation, hope that he is going to return and set all things right and finally bring about all the promises God have made. So it becomes a season that simultaneously celebrates the first coming of Christ while looking forward to the second coming of Christ. And that's why it's called Advent, because when Latin was the main language of the Christian community and more or less the English of the world, a millennium ago, coming, right? Adventus. So let me ask you guys, how would you answer the question? And I'm kind of setting you up here, but do you know when it actually starts or the logic behind it?
I know Lent is 40 days. I don't know what the time frame is for Advent. It's always been the first Wednesday after Thanksgiving, but clearly Thanksgiving wasn't a holiday
Exactly.
back then.
Yeah, and that's why
So I don't know what the
asking
reason
you.
is.
Right, because everyone in the United States, because our culture starts Christmas hardcore with Black Friday. It starts at Halloween, let's face it. But it really kind of gets going at Black Friday. Everyone assumes that's the start of Advent because that's when everyone seems to be doing Christmassy
Does
stuff.
it have something to do with the timing of the census and the travel?
It's
that time?
far more arcane than that.
Hmm.
It is dated by the Feast of Saint Andrew.
Whoa,
Perfect.
look at that.
I'm
Yep.
here for that.
You are the man. You are the last official holiday in the Christian calendar. The Feast of St. Andrew. Andrew was one of Jesus' 12 apostles. He was Peter's brother. And
one of the best apostles.
and one of the best, just by
Yeah.
name alone.
Exactly.
Right?
You're setting
Absolutely.
yourself up now.
He doesn't get a book of the Bible, but
He just has to provide a meal at the end.
yeah, exactly.
There you go. Scotland loves Andrew. So if you can think of the Scottish flag, it's a blue field with the white cross or the white X on it. That white X is historically called St. Andrew's Cross because according to tradition, Andrew was actually martyred by being crucified on an X-shaped cross. So
Let's not
there's
do
something to look
that.
forward to. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm ready.
So the Feast of St. Andrew is November 30th. And Advent is 4 Sundays. It is always 4 Sundays, no matter how the week plays out.
Okay.
And so it's 4 Sundays before Christmas. And the Sunday that falls closest to the Feast of St. Andrews is when it begins.
Cool.
So that's why sometimes, it's like Advent can be shorter, Advent can be longer. It's not a fixed amount of days because Christmas is driving the whole thing.
So one thing I just thought of as you were talking about Advent is, the church calendar, we have Advent and then
Christmas,
Christmas, and then
because Christmas is a season.
yeah,
It's not just a day.
Lent and Easter.
You forgot Epiphany.
There's other ones in there.
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day, it's in there.
Yeah. All right.
So,
Cinco de Mayo.
but Jesus was
Flag Day.
30-ish around the crucifixion and everything. 33,
Right.
30,
30,
something like
33.
that.
Yeah.
So this coming Easter will be the Jesus from my first Advent because I'm 30 years old.
Interesting.
So
All
it's not
right.
just a
All
4-month
right.
period. You got to include the 30 years in there too. So every Christmas, then you're not celebrating like that Jesus's death and resurrection until 30
So you're
years
tracking
later.
them through. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I've lived through Jesus's childhood and young adulthood now.
You have. Well,
So-
welcome to public ministry, Andrew.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm
It's,
ready. I'm ready to change water into wine. Anything we
absolutely.
need.
We all are. We're all looking forward to this. And
There's been so much blasphemy in this episode.
That's what we do here. And that's why we invite you to church. Come hang out with us sinners.
That's why I don't preach.
Yeah.
so here's what you do. You do whatever you want to do because it's a church tradition. And that doesn't mean it doesn't have value. But there is no prescription. And this is where I think people often get confused because Christians often have these practices that they hold very near and dear, but they're based more out of tradition than out of the commanded way of Christ, if you will. So there is no like requirement as a Christian of celebrating Advent, of what you do in Advent, of something that you have to do in Advent. But there is a spiritual tradition, informative history that has brought a lot of practices that have been helpful, because the danger of being a Christian, especially for bringing one too long, is the way of Jesus is so encompassing and so expansive that it's kind of hard to keep your eye on the ball.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things there. And what these holidays and traditions are meant to do is make sure that certain important aspects aren't slipping by.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a way to just kind of recover it again and go, this is a time when everyone else is kind of doing it, so I'll kind of do it, and kind of renew something that I may have let go a little bit in my spirituality in this time. So historically, Advent was actually a mini Lent. And for our listeners who don't know what Lent is, it's a season right before Easter, which is all about repentance and fasting. And the idea in Advent originally was it was a period of repentance and fasting because you're looking forward to the day of Christ coming again, and you want to make sure that your life and heart is right before he returns. So it's a way to kind of force yourself and focus yourself to go, no, let me do some self-examination here. Let me do some introspection here. Let me do some kind of making sure I'm getting right with God, so to speak, if my life has gone off the rails, because he is coming again. And when he comes, he's going to judge the living and the dead. Now, since that time, Advent has really, I think, taken on more of a cultural context. Well, for many people, it's become a month of parties and cookies and lights and deco. And that stuff is all great. But I think if you're really looking for a spiritual practice in Lent, two things that I would recommend. One, get yourself into a church, and get yourself into a church on more than just Sunday morning.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of churches will do Wednesday evening services. Ours does. You don't have to do it on that day. But the reality of this season is that it goes by so fast, and you blink and Christmas is here. And I think there's something instructive in that, because the reality of life is that it goes by so fast, and you blink and age and death are here. What I find is that the Advent services in season forces me to slow down. It forces me to go into pause, if you will, at least once a week, to just reflect, to think. Like we do something called Ancient Advent here at Fellowship of Faith. And, it's not everyone's thing. For me, it's personally edifying because our Sunday morning is so live and upbeat, which I love. It's so festive and driven even. And the rest of my season is as well. But how often can you get into a dark candlelit room where there's some incense burning, and for 40 minutes, just listen to the quietness, the hum, almost the drone? It's why we do the chanting. It's why we do things like that. The ancient carols, the ancient readings. It's almost just kind of like falling asleep, if you will, in the presence of God. But is there anything better than falling asleep in the trusted arms of the God that you love? It's so a practice that I've come to find that you see within the Christian community in sorts is this idea of just forcing these intentional pauses, if you will, to reflect, read the Christmas story, read the Christmas prophecies, pray, sing those carols. We used to do this at home with our kids when they were young. We just let them pick a song out of a hymnal. O Come All Ye Faithful, or Joy to the World, or Hark the Herald Angels Sing. We'd light a candle, we'd shut all the lights off, we would sing it together, we would pray. And, to this day, it's some of my favorite memories of my kids growing up. So that's one. More broadly, spend some time in reflection. Spend some time asking yourself, Lord, am I following you? Where's my heart at? Am I living the way that you want me to live? Where are the areas of my life that I'm guarding from you and need to turn over for you? How do I need to reorient myself from the darkness that I'm so inclined to the light that you are, if I can use that kind of metaphor?
Mhm.
And there's all kinds of mechanisms and ways you could do it. Some people light Advent candles. Some people do other kind of things. Fun traditions, to be sure. But it's the spirit of it that really matters.
I'm glad you like the hum of the ancient Advent service, but that's not planned. That's just a ground lift issue that we're having with the bass guitar that we just can't solve. So
That'd be more
Right,
of a buzz.
It's
That's
buzz.
more of a
You-
buzz. Yeah.
You've honed it in perfectly.
Yes. So that's, I told you the other week, I was like, you're talking a lot during these podcasts, which is, what you need to do.
Wait,
My
you or
mind
Dave?
races. Dave.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. Wait. I think we're gonna go minute for minute on this episode here.
We should.
See.
Yeah, we got 30 minutes left.
We need
Steve
numbers on
only.
that. We need the analytics here.
Yes, that would be good. Anyway.